What's going on, everyone? So, the Golden State Warriors are looking to add another star alongside Steph Curry. And reports came out that they're interested in guys like they're going to keep an eye on Giannis, right? The Milwaukee Bucks are not doing well and they're starting to implode, and him and Damian Lillard aren't working out the way that they are hopeful that they start to work out, and it becomes a mess. Giannis already was toying and teasing with the potential of him leaving anyway. I know he signed a new extension, but the rule is get your money now, request the trade later, right? And if Giannis starts pushing to get out, like Milwaukee gonna have no choice but trade him, trade Dame. And look, that could be a real possibility, right? I don't really think Milwaukee's gonna be very good, right? Unless Dame magically turns it around and gets back to being Portland Dame. But even then, like they're just old. It's a mess in my opinion there. But we'll see. Again, maybe it works out. Maybe they're able to kind of right the ship there a little bit. But are they going to be better than Boston, Philadelphia? If Paul George works out for them, the Knicks are all supercharged, right? I think at best you're looking at the Bucks being the fourth, fifth best team in the Eastern Conference. So Giannis could be a potential, right? The other player is LeBron James. That the Warriors are very interested in trading for LeBron James and are hopeful that they could do that this offseason or this season based on recent reports. Now, they tried to trade for LeBron James this past season, and we got news later on that Rich Paul was the one to shut it down. So a lot of people might think that, like, oh, well, that's never going to happen, right? LeBron's never going to go to the Warriors. Never say never, right? Like, yes, Rich Paul doesn't want LeBron to go, but ultimately, if LeBron wants to go, he'll go, right? Like Rich Paul's not going to stop LeBron. Like if LeBron's like, nah, I'm going, right? Like Rich Paul will probably try to talk about it, but if LeBron really wants to go, guess what? LeBron will be a Warrior, right? The only reason I don't believe LeBron would do it this season is because this is the season with his son, right? This is kind of, I think he'll play this year out because he wants to play games. You know, he's supposed to play the first game of the season with his son. I could see him playing in Cleveland with his son. Like, I imagine he'd probably want to spend the year, although you could argue him in Golden State, he's not far from his family. But still, like, I think he'll more likely than not ride out this year. However, you get to the trade deadline, if the Lakers are struggling and they're not that great, right, and he's already played, a handful of games with his son, he might look at it as like, okay, I had my moment, I had my time, I did what I got to have that and share that, right? Let me go over with Steph and try to win another championship, right? And the Warriors could easily, just Wiggins, Wiggins, Kaminga, and like Moody. There you go. There's LeBron, right? Give up some picks. Lakers get a young prospect. Also, the Warriors are apparently very reluctant in giving a max to Kaminga, right? So, if you're the Warriors, would you rather give the max and have LeBron on the max, or would you rather have Kaminga on the max? Because at least LeBron, one, is proven, and two, he's only going to be on a max as long as Steph is, right? So, like when Steph rides off in the sense that LeBron probably would too. So you're looking at that. Also, if you're the Warriors and LeBron really does want to come, you can the Warriors can free up. I think it's like $40 million next year. And also, LeBron was willing to take a discount to like bring in like Valanciunas and Clay and DeMar. Like I could see him taking a haircut to go to the Warriors and playing with Steph if he really wants to play with Steph. I don't believe he will. I still think if Steph and LeBron team up, it's through the Lakers. I also think LeBron would probably look at it, and Steph too, right? Like, if you're LeBron and Steph, are you looking at it as, like, who's better, right? Like, Draymond Green or Anthony Davis? Basically what you'd be looking at, because LeBron and Steph are going to be LeBron and Steph either way. And then you have Draymond, or you have LeBron and Steph, and you have Anthony Davis. I just think that the Lakers' chances of winning a championship is far greater than the Warriors if you're going matching big threes, right? And Lakers would still be able to round out a roster. You'd still have other key pieces. You'd probably still keep a guy like a Jared Vanderbilt or whatever. Also, the Warriors have the more, or appear to have the more promising young, like Kaminga looks like he could potentially be a star, right? Like he's just got to get more focused. He's just got to be more consistent, right? But he's a guy they believe Pod is like the second coming of Klay Thompson, right? Like they're like very high on their young guys. They don't want to move any of their young guys, right? And they're kind of more positioned for like a rebuild than the Lakers are. So if you're the Lakers, like that's kind of your argument to Steph. Again, I don't think it happens. If I wouldn't be shocked if LeBron and Steph team up. I just don't think it happens this season. I think if it were to happen, it happens next offseason, right? I think Lakers and Warriors kind of ride it out, whatever happens, and then I think, if Warriors are bad, Steph's like, get me out of here. But also, you got to imagine the Warriors don't want Steph to go. And I'm sure the Warriors know that if Steph leaves, they're going to have to trade him to the Lakers. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're the Warriors, your best chance is to get LeBron to the Warriors, right? Because Steph, if he wants to leave, he wants to play with LeBron. So if you're the Warriors, you know where Steph is going. You know, as an organization, if you have to trade Steph, what you can possibly get and what kind of deals you're going to be able to work out. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're the Warriors, you want to do everything you can to incentivize Steph to stick around. So if you're the Warriors, you're trying to go and trade for LeBron, so that way you don't have to be the team. Because one of those two teams are going to have to trade, right? So which star is moving? I just think ultimately Steph will be it, because I think there will be too many hurdles and obstacles for LeBron to go. And I do think LeBron listens to Rich Paul and is his kind of confidant. So I don't see LeBron necessarily going against it. But if at any point LeBron's like, all right, I want to play with Steph, right? Like I don't see Rich Paul stopping him if he's made his mind up. I think what LeBron's looking at is like, it would be cool, right? I would love to play with Steph, but, and like, what do you think, Rich? And Rich is like, absolutely not. No way, right? And he's like, all right, fine. Like, that's kind of how I think I look at it. Like when you're on the fence with something, you just kind of want to hear somebody either talk you into it or talk you out of it. I think that's what the case was, at least last season when they were trying to trade for him. I would imagine that if LeBron is like, nah, I made up my mind, I'm going, he's going. And so if you're the Warriors, like, it's the NBA. Nothing should surprise you. Nothing should be shocking. Like, if LeBron requested a trade at the trade deadline to go to the Warriors, like, again, I don't think that would be a big surprise or a big shock. And vice versa. If Steph asked for that, and I know people look at, like, Steph, Steph signed the extension. Well, if you were going to get traded, you would have signed the extension then. Right? Like, if you didn't want to be traded or you had no thoughts of being traded, you would sign the extension the following season. It's not like he gets a bigger extension by this point. He's got the, over 38 rule or whatever. Like, he can only sign 1 year regardless. If he wanted to maximize his years, he would have let his contract expire and then done what LeBron does, which is the 1+1. Or he could have signed a new contract entirely. He could have signed a new 5-year deal if he wanted to, whatever. So if he wanted to maximize money and he wanted to maximize years on the Warriors, he would have waited. But if you're not only Steph, but if you're an organization like the Lakers that are looking to trade for Steph, you would want him to have that extra year. Because if you look at it like this, from Steph's perspective, he gets that money locked up, guaranteed. There's no questions, ands, ifs, buts about it, right? If he starts to decline or he has a significant injury or whatever, it covers his tail feather, right? Covers his end. But then also from the Lakers standpoint, if the Lakers were to trade for Steph, you are going to sell the farm to go get Steph, and then in a year he could go, I'm going to retire. Right? Like, that would be a disaster, especially if you don't win. If you win, it's like, okay, well, it was worth it. We won a championship. But if you don't win, it's like you just sold the farm to go get a guy that you basically had on a 1-year rental. But now if you have him on that extension, well, now you have him that extra year, and now you at least have that 2-year window, maybe even more, right? So even from a trade standpoint, it makes it more likely, it makes more sense that Steph would have done that now, so that way he is trade eligible, and so that way he can move off, and any team that trades for him is like, oh, like if he were to get traded at the trade deadline, right? All the teams could be like, or most likely Lakers, but teams could be like, okay, we'd have him for 2.5 years, rather than like, we'd have him basically a year and a half. Right? Like, that's a big difference, right? Especially if you're giving up, all your picks and young talent and all that stuff, because the Warriors would be going into a full rebuild at that point, right? So it's just kind of how I look at it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel with your thoughts? Do you think, look, LeBron ain't going to the Warriors? Do you think Steph ever potentially ends up going to Lakers? Do you think, it's just they're never going to team up? Which, again, it's always a possibility, right? It's probably the more likely outcome. But like I said, when it comes to basketball, NBA, stuff, like, just never say never. We've seen so many strange things. So many guys. I've said it before. Like, if I told you, 10 years ago that LeBron James was going to be in a Laker jersey, people would be telling me I'm delusional and I'm this and be trying to cancel me off the internet, right? Like, and then if I said, oh yeah, LeBron and Anthony Davis would be on the Lakers, people would be grabbing their pitchforks and marching, right? Like, it'd be a mess, right? But guess what? It's a reality. LeBron and AD are on the Lakers, and they won a championship on the Lakers. So it's not really that far-fetched. So nothing should, no one should be shocked by any of these things. However, I do think it's very unlikely. As the Laker fan in me would love it if it was the Lakers, but the basketball fan in me, period, like if I remove my Laker bias, I would love to see LeBron and Steph team up. I don't care where it is. Even if it's the Warriors, neutral site, it was Nick Wright or whatever that said the Spurs, that would be cool. Wemby, imagine Wemby, Steph, and LeBron. Yeah, I don't care where the basketball fan in me just wants to see them team up. I think that'd be awesome. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.